Hi, I'm Adam Wright.
And I'm Emma Lancaster. On today's Parent University, everything you need to know about our free summer camps for students.
An important update on school safety and security measures.
Plus, fun and easy experiments with plants and vegetables the whole family can enjoy.
All that and more on today's Parent University. Welcome to Parent University. Our first guest today is Erin Groeneveld, Coordinator of Continuous Improvement for the School District of Lee County. She's here to talk to us about some summer program opportunities for students. Erin, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
So let's get right into it. So the summer is right around the corner, quickly approaching. So for parents who are interested in getting their students into some summer programs, you're here to tell us about the opportunities available to them. So why don't we start with elementary opportunities, and then we can go to middle school and then high school. So tell us what's available to students.
Absolutely. Happy to do so. And there is a lot that we are going to be offering for our kids this summer. Very exciting. I'll start with elementary. We will have the programs that lots of our parents are used to having. Which is grade 3 reading camp. And that is by invitation only. So they will hear about that program from their home school. We are offering brand new this year, kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2, and 2 different programs for grade 4. That will also be by invitation only, and parents will be given communication from their home school regarding that. We will have our English language learners programs. We're expanding that this year. So we're going to have 2 different face-to-face programs as well as our virtual programming. Our students that have an IEP that indicate that they should have a summer opportunity, they will also be able to do that, and that spans all the way K through 12. We'll have our iReady virtual program, K through 8, again this year. The Scholastic books are going to be sent home with students, and that's going to be all the kids again this year. New are live theater. So some of our students are going to have the opportunity to go to Broadway Palm at 3 different dates and attend a theater, which is something new and exciting for our kids, as well as science labs, and that will be virtual. Information will come home from the school, but our 4th grade students will come home with a nice bag of science experiments, and they will be able to go on to live Zooms with teachers down here from the district and complete some live labs. And that pretty much rounds out our elementary offerings. Moving into middle and high school, we will have the credit recovery like we've always had, which would be a mandatory program for any students that need to recover credit. That will be virtual, which is super helpful for our kids so that they can still travel, maybe still work, and maybe work at the hours that are best for them, but support will be available, as well as the opportunity to take tests to get that credit. We're having an advanced math camp, which will be face-to-face. That will be for our currently sitting 6th through 8th graders. iReady, again, transcends all the way up through grade 8. Also, another opportunity for our grade 8 students is accelerated credit, which will be virtual. They have the opportunity to take just a few courses if they want to, Hope, Spanish 1 and Spanish 2, through Lee Virtual. So this isn't credit recovery. It will be something that if they want to kind of get ahead for high school. Again, we have our English language learners and our ESY students that might have the opportunity to have the virtual and face-to-face programmings, as I explained, for middle school. We do have the SOS, Support Our Students program. It starts in grade 8 and goes up through grade 11. And that is a career opportunity program for our students. That is face-to-face. We have STEM camp that our kids are going to be able to go to. Band camp for 5th through 8th graders. There's so many things, and a civics camp. And that rounds out middle school with a little bit of high school mixed in. With high school, again, we have that credit recovery. We have math graduation camp, which can be kind of critical for our students. We've got that as well as the English language learners graduation camp. This really affords our kids the opportunity to meet those graduation requirements. So something parents are really going to want to make sure they're communicating with their high schools about if their student needs to attend that. But I don't want them to over worry either. Their schools will be in contact with them if they need to attend those programs. New, we're offering a biology camp. Again, LVS will run up through high school for accelerated credit, and there are a few more offerings that are available for our high school students if they maybe want to pick up some extra coursework. And then we've got that SOS, Support Our Students program, that goes all the way up. We have a percussion camp that's new this year for our students at the high school level, and of course, driver's education, if they wish to take that. So wrapping all of that up, lots of these programs are face-to-face, lots of these programs are virtual. What's really important for parents to understand is with face-to-face programming, they should attend one. Their child may attend one face-to-face program, and that's just because of the timing. But they can attend as many virtual camps as they wish to attend. All of the information, anything they need to know, signing up, registering, should my student attend, does my student qualify, all those things will be communicated by the home school. They're not going to have to do any work to find out. They just might want to follow up with their student in that regard.
Wow, that's an extensive list.
It is.
Programs.
I'm sorry that took a minute.
No, that was great. I mean, it's great to hear all of the opportunities that we give to our students. You mentioned timing, so you said if they're doing a face-to-face summer camp, they can really only do one of them. For parents out there who have maybe never had a student do a summer program before, what kind of time commitment are we talking here? Is this a program that lasts all summer long? Is it every day of the week? How many hours per day? Can you give a general idea of what these programs are like?
Sure, that's a really great question. And in all honesty, it varies depending on the program. But for an overview, our more extensive programs, credit recovery, graduation, reading camp, iReady, those programs, they're going to run pretty much all of the summer. They would start on June 13th for students and run through July 20th. Of course, virtual programming, that all can be done as the student wishes throughout the day. With face-to-face, obviously there's going to be specific times, but all of the programs run Monday through Thursday only. The majority of the programs run morning only 8 to 12, which still leaves the afternoon free. Some of our programs only run 2 weeks. Some of them run 3 weeks. So all of that information will come to parents. When they get the information about the opportunity to sign their child up, they will be given a deadline. They won't have to guess. It's going to be right in the communication. So even if they're just maybe thinking about it, I encourage parents to go ahead and sign their child up or just say, yes, my child's going to attend. And if something happens to make that not possible, just the grace of letting the school know that plans changed. But I would rather it be that way for them, especially with face-to-face programming, than they miss the opportunity. The deadlines are going to be really important for our face-to-face because of transportation. We'd have to route this, and it's not the same busing that is used during the regular school year. So we want to make sure that their child gets that opportunity, is on the list, and they have a bus stop.
So you just brought up two topics that I was going to ask you about
All
next.
right.
So you mentioned deadline to apply. What is the deadline for?
Well, that is going to vary a little bit by programming, but I can tell you that the deadline is going to be the first or second week of May for any of the programming as the final deadline. Some of them may be earlier, so I encourage parents to please pay attention to the communication from the school, just because we want to make sure that they don't miss that.
And you mentioned transportation, so there is busing available for students to take them to the face-to-face programs.
There's a few caveats where transportation is not provided, and I think that the only ones that come to my mind very quickly are the band camp programs that won't have transportation, but almost all of our face-to-face programmings have transportation.
Okay, and speaking of the face-to-face programs, I'm assuming that there are schools that host them in each zone or area, And before we started recording, you mentioned that it's maybe a little bit different this year for elementary school sites. Can you tell us about where these programs are offered?
Sure. So the face-to-face programming, I'll start with the easy one. Middle and high school, there is one site per zone that are going to house the face-to-face sites. So students, to a really good point that you made, they probably won't be going to their home school during the regular year, but transportation will be provided to those sites, and parents will be made aware of what they are. And it is by zone. Kind of the old zones, though, with all of the transition we're going through, the west, east, and south zones. Because it took me quite a minute to talk about all of the elementary programming, you can see how much it grew. So because of that, there's no way to only have one school in each of the zones. So some of our zones have 4 schools, some of our zones have 3. So how that's going to work, which is going to be really critical for parents, is that we've created geographic hubs. So for example, Bayshore Elementary is one of our sites in the West Zone. Around Bayshore Elementary, divided by roads, is a section of students that live in that area that would go to Bayshore. So how a parent is going to know what elementary school their child is going to for face-to-face programming is literally based on their address in focus. Wherever whatever that address is, they will be routed in transportation to the school within that hub. And it sounds really confusing and very convoluted, but I promise here's what's going to happen with the parents, so the parents know what's happening. When the parents get the letter, and on our websites, all of that is going to be the transportation map for summer. And it literally outlines for the parents, here's the proximity area that's being used for students to go to this school.
All right, and so you mentioned that the best place for parents who want more information to go, that will come from their school to them?
It absolutely will. I know there's going to be, that the instinct is, let me find out what's going on, let me call and see what my child qualifies for or needs, and I totally understand that and respect it. But I do promise the parents that information will come from the schools. We are really just ramping this up. So letters will probably start within the next couple of weeks. They should be seeing those. Of course, if they have a critical question, of course, if there's concern, to call their school.
Sure. We don't want to overload the phone systems at the schools if we can avoid that.
Yes.
Okay. And one last question that I thought of, are there any costs associated with these summer programs?
Absolutely not, including meals. So all the students at the face-to-face programs will get free breakfast and lunch, and there are no costs associated with it at all.
Awesome. Very cool. Okay, so parents, be on the lookout for communication about summer programs from your schools. And Erin, is there anything else you wanted to mention?
Not at all. I appreciate the time. I really hope that that there's so many opportunities out there and that there's something for all of the kids. We worked hard to make that happen. So looking forward to the summer. It'll be exciting.
Yes, we appreciate your hard work. Erin, thanks for joining us on Parent University.
Absolutely.
And we'll be right back with more Parent University right after this.
Excited to be a part of this history, the new history that's happening, and to be able to say that I worked here, I walked these halls, my children went here, and to be able to knock down a brick, but also watch it be raised back again. This old girl has been truly a blessing in this community, and it's time for her to get a facelift. She's gonna be all cute now.
Welcome back to Parent University. Thank you for staying with us. Now, safety and security is always top of mind for us here at the district and for you as parents as well. So we wanted to bring in our Executive Director of Safety and Security, Dave Newlan. to tell us a little bit about some of the things we have implemented across our schools to keep our students and staff safe. Thank you very much, Mr. Newlan, for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
So we know, incidents continue to happen across the country that really put our families on edge. So first of all, maybe let's start with a message of how the district sees safety here at our schools.
Well, first and foremost, we take safety is utmost importance. It's priority, and we look at things that happen nationwide. We look at our district here locally. When I think about our students, our staff, and our parents, I want the parents to know that their kids are safe. And so it's important as we move forward with our ongoing training, looking at newer technology, as we continue to improve, that's paramount to the public needs to be aware of what we're doing. And that we're doing everything we can to keep their kids safe and to make sure when they go to school, we want them to focus on their education and not worry about the anxieties of what's happening, unfortunately, nationwide.
So I know we can't be too specific on some of the security measures that are taken for safety and security purposes, but what are some of the things we can share with parents that we have at schools to, watch what's happening to keep our kids safe?
I think there's some things that is important for parents to know. First and foremost, that we as a school district, we practice and we do drills with our students and staff. That's fire drills, and those are also active shooter drills. And so it's important for the parents to know that these are performed monthly. So when their kids come home and talk about drills, this is what we did today, the parents have an understanding of why we do these. And we do these so if something was to happen, that staff and students know what to do based on where they're located in the school or even outside the school. We talk about these scenarios with our staff and have them run through things that, if something was to happen, let's walk through what you would do. So that's important for parents to know. It's also important to know that when parents come into a school, we have very certain regulations and protocol. For example, if I'm going to the school to whether I'm going to pick up my son or daughter for an appointment or whatever, there's a single point of entry, the main office door, that you have to show your identification. And to please be patient, understand why we ask for those things. Even though you may say, well, they know who I am. Why am I showing my ID? Well, it's important. It's part of security to verify. We know every person that comes to that school, who they are, and to follow that protocol. So when they come in, they sign in and go through those procedures so we can verify and check off every person that's been to that school daily. The other part we talk about is our something through Alyssa's law that's called a panic alarm system. And that's called Centegix. In fact, I have one here. This is what it looks like, this little button here, that if I was to hit that at a school, let's say if you have an active shooter at your school, this button here, you hit it multiple times, just keep hitting it. This actually does multiple things. So this goes automatically to all of our local dispatchers of our police departments. Automatically they're notified, they would see it's me, Dave Newlan. They would show my exact location that I've hit this button for a lockdown, which means there's an active shooter.
And this is something all of staff has, or who has
All
that?
staff has them, and it works for any school in Lee County, or even our ancillary buildings as well. So when that happens, you'll see strobes that'll go off. It'll take over all of our desktop computers that'll flash lockdown. We have an automatic intercom recording that indicates this is a lockdown. So when we talk about drills, I mentioned a few minutes ago, this is why we do that. So when that time does come, they all know what to do and where to go to keep everybody safe.
And I did want to go off of what you said about the single point of entry. This isn't just something that we do for the public. I know we go out to campuses often, and we're also screened as district staff. We may have our ID, but we have to show the ID. We don't just say, I'm from the district, I was just here. And even the superintendent himself, when he goes off to schools, I've seen it where they will ID him and he will have to sign in. So we do take that very serious. I want to also mention cameras because frequently we do get requests, especially in the communications office, for video surveillance. And I know that's a touchy subject because it is a security issue, but we do have video surveillance on our campuses.
We do.
Correct?
We do have video surveillance. We try to make sure we cover all of our areas in our schools. So in case something was to happen, not only us, but our local law enforcement partners can also have access, so in case something was to happen, they know where that threat may be, get there to as soon as possible to neutralize the threat.
And that's something I wanted to clarify, because I think when people think video surveillance, they think the school. They don't realize that we have access to that here at the district, which is you and your safety security team, as well as law enforcement. So that is correct, right?
Yeah, absolutely, that is correct, yes.
Amazing. Okay, so speaking of law enforcement, school resource officers is also a big security measure. So tell us about that program.
So basically ever since what happened over in Marjorie Stoneman, at that point, the state of Florida has said every school must have either a school resource officer, a guardian, some type of safety officer at every school for the purpose of stopping the active assailant. Here in Lee County, we have school resource officers in every single school in Lee County. We have 2 in every high school. We have 2 in some of our middle schools, and 1 in all the rest of our schools as well. So they cover every school in Lee County.
And just for the understanding of our families, school resource officer is an actual law enforcement officer. It isn't a staff member, is that correct?
That is correct. And we have every agency based on jurisdiction that covers a school in their area. That includes Lee County Sheriff's Office, Cape Grove Police Department, Fort Myers Police Department, and Sanibel. So they cover the schools in the area, and we have a great partnership with them. We are very fortunate to have the school resource officers in all of our schools as we have today, with additional as well. So it's been a very good partnership.
And just for those that may have a question about the Guardian program, with the school board recently approving a resolution to support such a program, we just want to clarify that although the board has supported moving forward with this is something we're still working on developing. Is that correct?
That's absolutely. They give them permission to look into this program. As far as working on putting it together, and that's where we're at right now. So we're at the early stages with the Guardian program.
Great, thank you so much for that, because I know parents would question that. So before we go, I do know that there's been some new implementation, at least in partnership with the Sheriff's Department, of scanners at different schools at different times. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so there's a couple different things we've done this year, and again, we keep looking to improve, keep moving forward. So there's Evolve technology, which is a weapons detection device, and through the sheriff's office, they'll hit random schools per week with knowledge that obviously our staff's aware of, and basically it strictly detects weapons, meaning it can detect other things as well too, but the primary focus is firearms and knives. So basically, when they put those into the school, it's a way of just ensuring that the kids come in that they're safe. And that's all it is. And afterwards, the parents are receiving messaging from the school to let them know this is what happened at school today. It wasn't because of a threat. You know, if it was, they would indicate otherwise. But this is for that very purpose. And they kind of just randomly go around different schools as we speak. The other thing too I want to mention too is every single officer in Lee County has access to a school. So if something was to happen, they can get immediate access if they had to. That was a focus this year that we wanted to make sure every single officer could do. So either if I'm the officer, that's my zone, I'm not the school resource officer, or if I'm heading home from work and I happen to get notification there's a lockdown or active assailant at a school, I can get right in. Nobody has to let me in, it's immediate access. And that was a big project that's been achieved, it's been completed. So anybody in Lee County, again, can get into a school for exigent circumstances.
I'm sure that's really good for parents to know. So and on the topic of those weapon detection systems, is that something that the school district is looking at implementing in the future? Or is it going to continue to just be random with the Sheriff's Department? No,
we are looking at different type of technologies. That is one of the things we are looking at right now, that we are researching and looking into. Yes, there is a possibility that these may be in our schools in the future.
All right, well, we'll make sure to notify our families. They always want to know what's going on. Final words for our families, perhaps on fake threats. We get a lot of those, and we take all of them very seriously, but they continue to happen. So any advice for families on talking to their children about this?
A couple things. I think one is, yes, it's very important. I would tell parents, please speak to your kids. Tell the kids that, your kids, this is not, they may think it's a joke. They may think that, they may be upset at the moment and put something on a social media threat. These are all taken very seriously. They have to be. So we have law enforcement. When these go out, law enforcement and us, we're immediately working on these threats immediately, trying to find the source, who put it out, based on the location. And as everybody has seen, kids have been charged with felonies for putting these social media threats. So the parents really need to sit down with their children and explain to them about these. These are taken very seriously, and they will be taken seriously. Situational awareness, being aware of your surroundings, taking the time to really focus and look when you're going to school, when you're leaving school, and reporting things is very important as well. If a fellow student says something to you, maybe something that maybe you thought, well, I should report that, you're better off reporting it just to make sure, so we can follow up on it in case it is something serious.
We want to make sure kids know it's confidential if they report it, but it's important that they do.
It is. And we try to make things, other ways of reporting things where it is anonymous. We want to provide those opportunities so it makes it very easy. If somebody wants to report something, they can.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here and sharing all this information. I know that our families will really be happy to hear a lot of the safety measures we're taking.
Thank you for having me.
Now, April is Earth Month Day. Well, actually, we have Earth Day during the month of April. So when we come back, we'll have a wonderful Earth Day activity for the entire family.
Are you looking for an exciting opportunity where you can help make a meaningful impact in the lives of Lee County children? Well, great news. The School District of Lee County is hiring, and we want you to join our team. You're invited to our Spring Recruitment Fair on Saturday, April 29th at the Lee County Public Education Center, located at 2855 Colonial Boulevard in Fort Myers. Schools from across Lee County are looking for teachers, school psychologists, speech-language pathologists, school social workers, and school counselors for the next school year. The recruitment fair is your opportunity to network, interview, and possibly get hired on the spot. We encourage you to pre-register for this event, and you can do so up until April 21st. For more information on how to register and requirements for certain positions, visit leeschools.net or send us an email to careers@leeschools.net or call us at 239-337-8676. And we'll see you on April 29th.
Welcome back to Parent University. Earth Day is right around the corner. It will be April 22nd. So joining us for our activity segment in this episode is Susie Hassett and Julia Sessa with Environmental Education right here at the School District of Lee County. They're going to be showing us some activities involving some plants and vegetables, all related to Earth Day activities that you can do right at home. So we are excited to get started. Susie and Julia, thank you so much for being here.
We are so excited. We love Earth Day. It's one of our favorite days of the year. And this year we'll be celebrating with Ding Darling at their Conservation Carnival out at Lakes Park. It's free for everybody, so they wanted you to know about that. And as we're getting out to the schools this month, we're showing folks how they can grow some of their own food. All year long, we've had a project with growing your own food. We work with the Healthy Living Collaboration at the district, and we've been excited to see students growing food to put in their cafeterias. We thought you might want to try some activities at home, so we brought some things to show you that you would find right at your house so that you can grow some food at your house too.
Awesome. Yeah.
What
do we have here? Yeah, let's get started.
Well, Jules is going to talk about regrowing some of the foods you eat. Go ahead, Jules.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about getting free plants from the foods that you already eat. So here I have some green onions. I actually cut them up and put them in my bruschetta for dinner last night. And You can see right here, I cut them right here. All I did was place them in this cup of water, and within a couple of hours, I already saw some growth. And this is just from last night.
Oh, wow.
So with green onions, all you have to do is literally chop them, make sure that you have enough of the onion so that it still has the roots intact, and then just place it in water. And once it starts growing, like about an inch or two, you can place it, you can take the rubber band right off, and then place those directly in the soil.
So you never have to buy green onions again.
No, I've had the same green onions for a little over a year now.
Awesome.
Which is pretty great. And then you had an activity to plant them. If you don't have soil outside and you have a windowsill or a bright balcony, show them what you have.
Yes, so this was my oat milk container. So you can just use any old milk container or cardboard container. And I had cut it to make it look like a bunny. And you can paint it, or I had cut out pieces of construction paper to make it pink, like a bunny. And then we can put, I think we have dryer lint that we're putting in there instead of soil. So if you guys don't have any soil, you have dryer lint. Everyone has dryer lint. You can put it right in here and use that as a medium for your seeds.
We've got a ton of dryer lint at my house. So.
Yeah, so who knew? A little dusty.
All dusty.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So for next Easter, that'll be a great activity.
You can make it into any kind of an animal you like.
Right, you're right.
And one of the benefits of doing it on construction paper and taping it on is that It's a lot easier for your children to color and make the eyes and features.
Very cool.
Yes, so then the next activity is regrowing your tomatoes. So we have some tomatoes growing right here at school district building in our little secret garden.
Ooh,
so we
secret
have
garden.
lunch right on hand. Those are the little Everglades tomatoes, or a tiny cherry tomato. And as you can see with this one, a bird pecked at it.
Oh.
So I wouldn't want to eat that if the bird ate it, but I'm not done with it yet because I know that these grow really easily. So even if you find a dried up tomato like this, or you have one,
Camera? Yeah.
this is dried up, but it still has the seeds. Or if you have one that you use, this one, Julia, you said it was on your counter.
It was on my
This is
counter.
how easily
Ugh.
tomatoes will germinate and sprout. So when the seed begins to grow, we call that germination. So the root comes out first, and then the stem, and then the leaves. And this one very quickly started to germinate. The whole reason for a seed is to grow a new plant. So tomatoes don't waste any time. And those seeds can remain viable for 3 to 9 years. That's a long time.
Wow.
So to make the best use of my tomatoes, we have an activity where you can use your empty cardboard toilet paper tube. You can put some little 1 centimeter cuts in it. So I fold it like this so that they're pretty even, and then I fold it again the other way so I can get them pretty even. You can also use this as an opportunity to measure with your student. And then you fold it in one side at a time, like you're folding the bottom of a box. And then you tuck in that one last corner. And so then looks like that.
Okay. There you go.
So then these will stand up pretty easily in any kind of a little container, and so I like to use a little plastic container. And then one of the tools that I like to use in the classroom with students is plastic cutlery. If you've used this out to eat or something, don't just throw it away, reuse it. You can put it in your dishwasher, but it makes a great tiny little shovel that's easy for little hands. So you can go ahead and put some soil in, or you can use the dryer lint, either way. And this is a great opportunity to practice the scientific method.
Ooh.
Let's see the difference in how they germinate in soil and in dryer lint. We can do an experiment. Of course, I would want to do multiple trials, so I would want to do 3 of each if I was really going to do an
Right.
experiment. So this is how easy it is. You can just squeeze out some of those tomato seeds right in there. And of course, I would want to do it the same way. So if I'm going to squeeze out tomato seeds and put it on my dryer lint, then I have to squeeze out tomato seeds into my soil. And then I like to use a spray bottle when we're watering these. For children, it's a lot easier than using even a cup because you don't want to drown your plant with water.
Right.
It needs just so much water and not too much. So we can
I want to turn it. There you
get it going here, primed up, and make it damp, but not wet, so it needs to feel like a damp sponge. And then you just check it, and when it feels dry, then you spritz it again. And then another thing that you can do is,
So how long? Well, how long will it take to see some action there? And if you're doing this,
it should only take a few days. So after a week, if they haven't grown or if they get moldy, you're gonna have to try again.
oh, okay.
So that's,
It's just a few days.
That's the
And
fail-safe,
That's all,
yep.
just
Just a
toilet
few
paper
days.
roll and some lint
yep.
and tomato seed,
And
water.
tomato seed. Tomato seeds are probably the easiest seed to come by, second easiest to you, Jules.
So I'm going to be showing you guys a bell pepper. So we all know that when we have bell peppers, we usually cut the tops off. And then in here are where the seeds are. And then we eat this part. So what you can actually do is just scrape the seeds off that part right here. And then these are the seeds that you're going to plant in the same way as the tomato seeds. Let me see if I can get a few here to show you guys. So these are going to be the pepper seeds, and you can just plant them just like any other seed or just like the tomato seeds. And what we actually do is we're actually going to show you how you can plant them in an egg carton or reuse your egg carton. So egg cartons, they have these nice little individual cells, which makes perfect space for a seed to germinate.
Take this
So-
out of the way here.
And the great news is, the seed does not need light until it's getting its first leaves. Up till then, it's fine to grow in the dark, and it's protected that way.
So don't throw your empty egg cartons away.
Nope.
You're getting a little bit.
Or you can recycle them at Publix, and they will make them into something new, like the reusable wood. All right.
Yep. So I'm just gonna be placing one seed in each piece of dryer lint.
Just
in
one.
Each cell, yep. Just one.
It's like a little nest.
Yep, just like a little nest for the seed.
Mind if I
Go
give it a
ahead.
spritz?
ahead and give
Do
it
the
a
ones that you've
spritz.
already done. Got to get it nice. More?
A little bit.
A little bit more. Yeah, that's good.
So you can practice with it, and that's another counting activity that you can do with your student. And say, how many spritzes do you need? And now let's do it the same for all of them. So you can just close the box, and the other beauty of this is that the moisture will stay inside, so you're probably not gonna have to water this again before it sprouts.
All right.
So you can just keep peeking in there until you see the little sprouts coming up, and then
Very
you
cool and so easy.
can plant them, and it's so easy. That's a lot of fun.
Susie, Julia, thank you so much for being here on Parent University, and we will be right back with more.
We hope you enjoyed this month's program, and we thank our guests who provided you with very important information.
Please remember to take our follow-up survey to get credit for this session and make sure to share with other families so they can participate as well.
And as usual, we want to give a special shout out to the schools with the highest participation. This month we have Edison Park, Estero High, and James Stevens.
And now it's time for this month's giveaway. We have a $25 gift card to Amazon. Very nice.
Changing it up.
All right.
Hold on, okay, shake it up, shake it up. Who will the winner be? Not looking, I'm not looking. Diane Jordan from Oak Hammock Middle School. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Diane. We'll be in touch to let you know how to claim your prize. That is it for this month's program.
Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next time for our final session of the season.